You're thinking about making the investment in Cleveland, Ohio. People are coming here, people are moving here, but not only that, with this great kind of boom in the city that's going on, people are already and are investing in Cleveland, Ohio as well. Whether you're out of state, out of country, or you're in the city itself and you live in Cleveland, people are investing and people are buying up homes to rent. Duplexes, homes, commercial property, they're building businesses. It's a very interesting time in the Cleveland market right now. So in today's video, we are going to talk about the 5 neighborhoods in Cleveland proper to invest in. Where are people flocking? What do those neighborhoods look like? What might be the cost? What might be the barrier to entry? And is it a right fit for me? So let's jump into this video about the top 5 neighborhoods to invest in Cleveland right now. And of course, if you want to dive deeper into what that investment might look like for yourself and what it might be that you're looking for, make sure to send me a text, give me a call. Let's schedule a time to meet in person, face-to-face, Zoom, whatever it may be. I'll be happy to talk to you and just to really help guide you along this investment journey that you might be starting in, or you might be an experienced investor already. So let's jump into the video. Here we go. If you're new to the channel and you want to know all there is about living in Cleveland, Ohio, and specifically today, investing in Cleveland, Ohio, make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so that you can be notified when we upload a new video and stay current on all things Cleveland. My name is Kip Sweeney with Living Cleveland, Ohio, powered by Mancuso Homes, eXp Realty, and I'm here today to help not only the home buyers and sellers, but the investors that are out there looking for property, looking for the next market to tap into. And this may come to a surprise, or you may already know, but Cleveland, Ohio may just be that next spot for you. Let's jump into this video and talk about the top 5 neighborhoods to invest in Cleveland, Ohio right now. All right, so just as a reminder, we're talking about Cleveland proper, right? So one city that is probably already known to many people here, if you're watching this video, is Lakewood, Ohio. That's going to be probably one of the hottest spots people are investing in just because of the nature of it. It has tons of duplexes, triplexes, quads. There's a lot of just investment opportunity there and to, get more doors in one purchase. But along with it, it has kind of an urban feel, but is very suburban at the same time. So it's got a lot to do. It's very artsy and just popular spot. Many people love living there. It's normally very popular for people that are renting the healthcare industry and just coming here to Cleveland itself. People do enjoy it. It's near the lake and it's got a lot to do. But that would probably be the #1 spot. However, these are not going to be outside of Cleveland, right? So we're talking about Cleveland proper and the cities there. So the #1 on our list is going to be Ohio City, which is near the west side. It's not going to be the furthest away. It's not too far away from Lakewood, to be honest. It's a pretty easy drive. So many people do find themselves going here. Now, it's going to be more of a historic neighborhood. It's west of downtown, as I kind of mentioned, but it's a pretty vibrant mix of restaurants, breweries, bars, and little famous things to do, as well as what you might know, have heard of if you know anything about Cleveland, but the famous West Side Market, which got a huge grant to renovate and to expand and just to continue to build up a little bit. As it is a popular destination, people really, really love it. It's gonna be pretty similar in compared to Lakewood. It's gonna have that urban, suburban feel. It's gonna be a little bit more on the urban side of things so than Lakewood would be. And along with it, it's gonna be pretty close to downtown, which is making it very attractive in that sense. It's gonna be something that allows people that work downtown have a very easy commute. So it's a pretty nice place to be, and it's very easy to access the freeways and other freeways from Ohio cities. But it is just a pro for pretty much all of these. Now, it is a very popular spot for young professionals and renters. A lot of people do rent there, but you do see people who own as well that want to live that kind of lifestyle there. As I said, there's much to do there. You have the ability to walk out of your home and just go ahead and go to a brewery, go hang out, go to the restaurants, and to find things to do or go to the park. So it's pretty nice because the walkability is pretty high and people do enjoy that. Now, the median sale price in the area is $310,000 from now in 2025, and it actually took a small dip, so it could see a pretty nice opportunity to buy before those values go up. So one thing I will say is it's going to be a little bit of a higher cost to entry. The barrier is there. You may need to be a little bit more of an experienced investor or have that funding behind you if that's where you want to start. But it's just, to give you that idea, it is going to be something that will be a little bit more expensive out the rip, but it's going to be a very popular destination, so people are constantly looking there to rent. And along with that, obviously, you probably would assume it's going to be a pretty popular spot for investors alike, so the demand is high, so the competition can be a little bit fierce. Fun word to say, but it can be there. The demand is there, so the competition is there as well. You have to get a little bit creative. You have to be willing to do some things that you may not want to do on the purchase. Maybe that's, forego an inspection. Maybe that's appraisal gaps, things like that. But nonetheless, that's down the line, and those are things that I can help you with if you choose to invest, of course. As I said, many people here do rent, and that number is going to be about 70% being renters, with that 30% obviously owning their home. But it is a very popular destination, as can be seen in that number. Who's this best for? What are the best strategies here? Really, you can pretty much do anything here. So if you want to buy and hold, you're going to be able to get some long-term renters in there and have no fuss. Now, if you're someone that's looking for a short-term rental and you wanted to do an Airbnb, you can do that as well. You can get some renters in there, people that love the food scene. There's that option here in Ohio City, or that want to go to breweries, or of course, maybe they're here for the Browns games, traveling for their favorite team, of course. People will rent out Airbnbs with it being pretty close. It's a little bit of a further drive, but an easy Uber. So being close by, it is a popular destination for that. And of course, if they're coming in for the weekend, they have all those things to do that Ohio City has to offer prior to the game on Sunday. There are many older Victorian homes in the area, so it does present an opportunity to do some fix and flips, but the competition is very strong there. Because obviously the resale is going to be pretty high and people are looking to do the same in the area. You do get a lot of new construction that's in the area as well, so that's a great sign as well, allowing that to kind of bring up your property value too. So another thing to keep in mind, the area is still growing with new construction, land is still being used, and it's still continuing to see growth. So typical rents, that's going to be about one bedroom averaging about $1,600, while a two bedroom you're going to see jump up quite a bit to about $2,300. Now, Cleveland rent, and just this is just going to be a kind of an asterisk because we're still behind on pretty much national averages for everything, whether that's the average sale price of the homes or that's just going to be the renting. We're behind on those things. So you're going to be able to see that kind of continue to increase as well, which is great because you can see that in the long run, you're going to be able to get those numbers up to maybe what you would expect of a normal city when you look around the states. Again, with the new construction, you have the rent being increased to that upper 2K amount. And then with some of the older homes, this is what brings some affordability to the area. But really, ideally, if you're really looking for a big margin, that Airbnb aspect of things is going to, in the short-term rental, I should say, because you don't need to do it on Airbnb. But that short-term rental aspect of things is really going to bring in that margin because of the close proximity to downtown and because of what Ohio City has to offer. So to wrap up Ohio City, our pros really for the city itself is going to be the continued developments that are going on, the revitalization that's continuously going through Ohio City, close proximity to downtown, the walkability, the options to get out and to do things, and of course the food scene, the breweries, the bars. So a lot of amenities that come with Ohio City and just basically what it all has to offer. Now con-wise, you're gonna see the higher cost to entry. The barrier entry in Ohio City is gonna be a little bit more expensive, so you need to have, be prepared for the funding and for maybe a smaller margin if you're going to win the bids, So remember, if you're going against a lot of other people, you may have to make a higher offer, or the property itself, knowing that it's in demand, is going to be a little bit more expensive. So when it comes to seeing that margin in the return, it may not be the percent that you'd like to see. And that's kind of going to be the con for Lakewood, Ohio as well. And that's kind of a similarity in these two. So just to throw that out there, you need to know that and to be prepared to see that. It just may not be, unless you're adding a lot of doors and that's adding up over time, then hey, that might be a little bit of a reason to stay away or something that you may not enjoy. So you may choose to just opt out and look into different areas. And of course, this is going to pretty much be on any of these, but the petty crime, a little car break-in or theft, things like that can happen in Ohio City. So something to think about, but again, pretty much for this video, that'll probably be a common theme on all these places. Now, for people that are out of state, if you are out of state, basically this would be, the suitability for you would be pretty strong here just because of the low vacancy rates and how strong of a rental area Ohio City is. So for someone that's out of state, you're able to maximize on the fact that you're going to be able to get renters in there and you're not going to have to worry too much about it year over year. Or someone's going to want to stay there for long term and you're going to be able to see them continuing to renew their leases, which is great because it is a popular spot. People are moving there and that's not going to change. Number two, Tremont. So this is going to be trendy and historic. It is just south of downtown and This is going to be, again, filled with Victorian homes, tree-lined streets. It's going to be a very artsy, gallery-based city, a neighborhood, I should say. Again, a lot of things to do. It is a historical district that has been gentrified and brought back up into more of that kind of like that hip and trendy aspect. You have your coffee shops, you have your bars, your breweries, your restaurants, a lot of things to do, of course, with parks. And again, similar to Ohio City, it's very walkable. So you're able to get around, and people are going to be able to leave their townhouse, their home, and to just go and explore and to get to places. So this will kind of matter in the long run, but we'll get to that. But it's just trying to paint the picture for you about what to expect with Tremont if you haven't been, if you don't know anything about it. Unfortunately, the median sale price here in Tremont is $330,000. So it is rising. It's still going up from previous years. So, that would be a con, obviously, the entry to barrier here. Oh, we'll get to some better ones here later. But I want to keep that in mind. However, you're seeing that continue to rise, and you're seeing property values continue to appreciate. But something you need to understand that getting into these properties will take, again, some creativity when it comes to deals. Unless the property is just, for whatever reason, not gaining any traction, or something about it is keeping people away, whether it's foundation issues because of the age or something of that nature that you might be more than willing to take on with a better deal, then, hey, you may be able to find those. You may be able to find some of those homes that people don't want to take on because of the age of the houses, that you might be able to land a good deal if you're an expert in that topic. If you're an expert, or you're well-versed, or have connections that can help you handle some of those problems. Very, very close to Ohio City. About 69% of people are renting, while the other 31% are obviously homeowners. So again, another popular spot for people to rent. Many people love to live there and to experience it before maybe moving out or building their family and having to upgrade or looking to just purchase that home for the first time. You do find both a mix of not only young professionals, but you do find a lot of people that might be downsizing, and they want that city lifestyle once again. You do see a lot of people from some older generations come into the area as well, but you kind of see them getting more of that new construction because they have the assets and the money already. So not much changes here from Ohio City. We're going to be good here with short-term rentals. You're going to get people that are coming in for the food scene, the history behind it all, and just the attractions and being close to downtown. You do have people that's going to be great for long-term rentals. You have people that are staying there long-term that want to live there and kind of grow with the city. So all three strategies would work here in the Tremont area. You wouldn't have to be worried about one or the other. It's just a matter of what you're comfortable with, what maybe the best margin will be, and your current situation. Are you out of state? Do you need management company? Do you want to do it yourself? Hey, how does all that look? And of course, we can always break all those things down together to see which strategy might be the best for you to opt for. So we talked about the median price. A lot of the new construction is bringing up the home prices, the prices of these homes, but you're not going to be priced out if you really want to get into the area. You can find some smaller homes, century homes, for that smaller price tag. They may need a little bit of work, but you can get into them around that $250,000, $200,000 mark. Now, they obviously are going to draw on a lot of attention, so be prepared to A, see that go quickly, but B, to be able to offer a strong offer and to have to fight others in multiples. Of course, we're not talking about physical fighting, and that's where having that agent kind of comes into play, because building the relationships with them helps us kind of get our foot into the door with that agent and just be able to kind of be on the good side so that they know who they're working with and kind of guide us to win that and to get into multiples and to take advantage of it. So something to think about as well, and something to look for as well, something I can totally help you with if that's interesting to you, if that's something that you would be open to managing as well. All right, so the pros, again, we're gonna be just filled with amenities, but you also have proximity to towpath and biking and parks, so people get out and about and are enjoying those things. There's still dog is getting comfortable. There's still tax abatements going on for that's going to be aiding new construction and flips, of course. And then you do have some just beautiful shops, boutique shops. You have a lot of local businesses and chic restaurants and just great breweries and bars. So a lot of things that are pulling people here into the Tremont area. It's still continuing to grow, just as I said, and the appreciation value of these homes are jumping pretty drastically. So you're seeing the prices rise and the homes appreciating at a pretty steady and comfortable rate, and people are really enjoying the benefit of that. So some cons. First and foremost is going to be for the Tremont area. There are some regulations getting proposed. There are some regulations that they're trying to do with a 15% cap per block. However, it's not to say that you can't get into those. It's not to say that we can't offer, if Airbnb is what you want, there's no reason why we can't handwrite, call, knock on the door, maybe not the Airbnb door, but get a hold of that seller and see, hey, are they willing to make a deal happen? You know, deals can always happen for the right numbers, of course, and to make sure that it's the right numbers for yourself. But just because the home isn't for sale doesn't mean it's not for sale, right? So just something to think about. That's gonna be the first con though, but also with the area still kind of gentrifying and up and coming, you still have some bright spots with some not so bright spots in the area from street to street. So again, it's gonna come with some, you know, petty theft and crime, and not crime, I shouldn't say that, but petty theft and a couple car break-ins or stuff like that, okay? So again, we're talking about a city, downtown, right? So don't be shocked. Finally, a part of those cons, you do have some older homes mixed in with some really new townhomes. So maybe the old homes are being valued a little higher than they would be, but along with this, you have to understand kind of how to manage the older homes and what to do with them and the work that might go into them. And of course, with these older homes, you have to be prepared for maybe some things that you wouldn't with a newer construction. And again, as we were speaking about in Ohio City, great to flip, but because there are a lot of people trying to do the same, those margins for you may not be as great as somewhere less known or somewhere less hot when it comes to demand and competition. So again, something to think about. If you're really looking for that home run, out of the park property, you may not find it in Ohio City, in Tremont, because of just the popularity. People already know about it and people want in on it as well. All right, so out-of-state suitability. So again, for those investors that are out of state, I understand you, I respect you guys. I have a couple, and I know some of those caveats, some of those issues that can go about it. But I want to give you just some information. Be rest assured that Tremont would be perfectly fine for you. You know, so just making sure though you have someone, whether you don't use me, whether you use someone else, I have someone, make sure they understand and know that if you're looking for fix and flips, that contractor can work on old homes. Make sure that you're looking in the right areas, that you're not getting, you know, cheated for a home that looks great but is a street that's not so hot in Tremont. So understanding those spots and those locations are going to be key, but you know, renting and vacancy rates, you're going to be perfectly fine in Tremont. You won't have to worry about that. So that is a huge positive for this Tremont area, and it's also going to give you that peace of mind. Up next, Detroit Shoreway and just the Edgewater area. So west side of downtown, and actually really close to Lakewood, which is great because sometimes you can get up into that Lakewood border and kind of maximize off of what Lakewood has to offer, but not be in Lakewood, still be in Cleveland, benefit off that. Edgewater and Detroit Shoreway is an up and coming area. It's still being gentrified more so than Tremont and Ohio City, as they've a little bit more established. But one area you may be familiar with, if you know the spot, is the Gordon Square Arts District. So this is going to be kind of that hub where everyone's going, they want to be at, where all the restaurants, the breweries, the bars, the theaters, the art galleries, where all of those kind of reside. Of course, there's some stuff on the outskirts, but this is going to be that main spot, that main point of attraction for people and where everyone wants to go. Now, Edgewater and Detroit Shoreway essentially surround it, and you know, Gordon Square Arts District is inside it, in the middle, encapsulated by it all, but everything around is still growing with it. So Edgewater, which has an Edgewater Park, basically borders Lake Erie. So it's also being brought up. These areas were once a pretty industrial area, but it's really changed into, again, that hip and trendy historic area. People love it. It's not going to be as historic, obviously, as Ohio City or Tremont, but people love it and people enjoy just coming here, getting out and about and experiencing what it has to offer and just really enjoying the restaurant and the food scene. So something very popular for Cleveland, Ohio is the diversity of our food and the cuisine itself. We have great food and people may not believe it, but we do. So I truly advise you to try it out yourself. You're gonna enjoy it, and I promise you, you won't be disappointed. Just let me know where you go though, or ask for some recommendations, I guess, before you do, so that you aren't disappointed. But it's truly gonna be something that pulls a lot of people from obviously the suburbs and out about to come to these areas and to enjoy these restaurants, because they're also a huge driver behind these areas, just seeing the booms that they're seeing, and people are wanting to be around them. So the median prices are going to be about $250,000 to $300,000 here, but it did see an upswing of about 16% from year over year, and that's going to be great. So you're seeing that these things are going to be rising, and the numbers are improving. The resale value is there, And we're gonna see that. Now, before we continue with that, I wanna talk a little bit more about Edgewater because they border each other. At Edgewater, the median price is gonna be about $214,000 there. So you're gonna see a little bit less expensive there as it's a little slower, but it's still on the rise. Who's this best for? Well, all three, once again, could be maximized and do well here. So you're gonna see long-term holds. A lot of renters and a lot of people are coming here, young professionals, just again, with its proximity to Detroit, with its proximity to other places, the park, the festivals, things that are held there. Many people do wanna live there and rent there and be there. And to that same point, it brings short-term renters as well. So the short-term rentals do well because of what goes on, because of the attractions and the things that do take place around and in the Detroit Shoreway Edgewater area. With it being so close to downtown, about a 10-minute drive, people can go ahead, maximize that and have fun there, but then go to, I don't know, a Browns game, Cleveland, I guess the Cavaliers game if they wanted to during the warmer weather before it gets really, really cold. Things like that, they can enjoy that. The short-term rentals do have a place there, but it's gonna be a little bit more niche of an area because you're gonna wanna make sure that it's close to the downtown space, to the Gordon Square Arts District, so that people are able to walk places. Again, we spoke about the median home price in the areas, and it's not to say that you can't find things obviously cheaper or more expensive. With new constructions continuously happening, these prices are kind of continue to rise and to continue to come up. So you'll see things going for $500,000 closer to the lake, or you might see something ready to be made into something brand new, about $150,000, right? So really depends obviously per home basis, and I'm sure you guys know this, so I'm probably just wasting breath, but you can truly find whatever it may be that you're looking for depending on your strategy. So typical rents here are gonna be about $1,200 to $1,800, and that's 1 to 3 bed units or homes. So it's going to be a little less expensive than both Ohio City and Tremont, but it's not gonna be a bad margin by any means. You do see newer builds gaining traction as well and seeing rents at $1,900, but that average is going to probably be around the $1,500, $1,400 range. Now, depending on the location, of course, you may see less rent or more rent. Depends on the location, where it is, and what's surrounding it. But with all this in mind, short-term rentals are going to really see its time peak in the summer with the beach and the activities that do take place there. And you probably could see some nice rent in the fall, while it may slow down in the spring or the winter. So the pros, as the area continues to be gentrified, the home appreciation is continuing to improve. And we see that over year, you saw a 15 to 20% increase in the past couple of years of home prices as the area continues to be built up and gentrified. New homes, new businesses, new restaurants, and so on, as they all continue to take place and to continue to gain more and more traction within that area. Furthermore, with that kind of the beach and everything being right there, a lot of people are enjoying the opportunity to not only live, but work and play all in the same area. So that's kind of been drawing a lot of attention as well. And the lakefront, all of it is continuing to get its revitalization as well over time. So the appreciation will continue to increase. But finally, the area is just seeing a lot more businesses come into it. You're also getting the tax abatement that the city's still offering, 15-year tax abatement, so people can truly benefit and maximize their returns off of that as well. So the cons, you really do need to be a little bit more specific on the area here because similar to Tremont, but even more so, black from black, the homes and everything really truly do differ. And so that can be a little bit more. So it's an area that's still being seen as obviously being developed, and we're still going through those pains. Now, something about this is that with this space, and since it used to be more industrial, you're seeing a little bit more of larger developers coming into here, and you're seeing some large apartment buildings being built, which is also kind of a shame just because it's going to draw a lot more renters. It might adjust the rent. It's going to change things a little bit there rather than being able to maximize on the homes and things that are already there instead of the apartment buildings bringing more businesses and retail. But that's just something to note and something to think about. However, it's still very plentiful with homes that need to be flipped or rented or duplexes and things like that. So the opportunity is still there, but you really need to be a little bit more micro-centered around where you're going and what you're looking at, and making sure that where you're at and what you're picking is the proper spot that are gonna, it's gonna draw renters, that they're gonna want to rent there and feel safe and be comfortable. Now, for you out-of-state investors, what does this mean? Well, if it's gonna get rented, right? You're not gonna have to worry too much about the rent, but you're gonna have to maybe be a little bit more specific on your screening. So you do have a mix of the young professionals coming in, but you still have some low-income renters in the area, which is, perfectly fine. You just need to continue to do your due diligence and make sure that you're screening properly and have the right systems in place to make sure that you don't have to worry about anything. Make sure either that's the right management company, or make sure that you have your own systems in place with your own screening, or to do things how you like to do it, and be prepared in that sense as well. And of course, making sure that you're on the right spot in the right area and part of the neighborhood to make sure that even though vacancy rates aren't low, you're not on a fringe or borderline spot that causes maybe your property to be overlooked by some of the others, even if it is a little less expensive, even if the others don't offer as much, and so on, just because of maybe that location. So next up, University Circle in Fairfax, or Greater University Circle per se. This is gonna be on the east side of Cleveland, and this is just gonna be the home of some powerhouses. It's going to be home of Anyone Medicine, Cleveland Clinic, University Hospitals, Case Western Reserve, which is going to be pretty much, it's going to be a top university for people in the pre-med industry and area. So this is going to bring a lot, along with not only all these, medicine, eds, and meds people. It has other stuff to offer, such as employment opportunities with other companies, obviously not in just the medicine field, but museums as well. So it has kind of quite a bit to it, and not too far from it is what we call Little Italy, and that is just going to be an incredibly popular destination with delicious Italian food, cookies, pastries, everything, right? So it's home to that, which is great, and a lot of people do see themselves going there pretty often. Now, the median home price here is going to be pretty expensive. It's about $460,000 because it is pretty limited inventory and expensive condos. But you have neighboring cities like Hugh and Fairfax that are going to be good spots. However, they're currently seeing some major redevelopment going on, but it's still in the early phases. So when it comes to renting, it may not be the safest per se for some renters, depending on who they are and what they're looking for. So it really comes down to specific areas and finding the right home in the right place. But investors really do find themselves drawn here just for the strong rental aspect. You constantly have med students, you constantly have doctors and nurses and all the above coming here, needing a place to live, and then, being able to go elsewhere. So maybe they're here for 6 months, 3 months, whatever it may be. You see these people coming, renting, staying here, and then of course they're on to the next stop shortly after. However, there's a strong appreciation in the area, about 39.6% from last year. So you're seeing these areas and these properties still appreciate because of what it has to offer, because what's there and all the people that are coming. And so the idea is obviously being able to have and ride the wave of this appreciation in cities like Hugh and Fairfax, which still have a lower cost entry, right? About $77,000 is the median here. So you're able to get into these spots and to basically just ride the wave of what this area has to offer. And you're gonna be able to see the appreciation and basically Hugh grow as a city more and more as companies are going there, as headquarters are moving there as well. We're already seeing that starting to happen, and it's continuing to build. So if you really are ready for a long-term hold, that's gonna be a great space for you. So what are gonna be your best bets? What are gonna be best strategies here? Well, depending on where you're looking, if you're going in Hugh or Fairfax, you may be able to find some good flips, but the ARV isn't going to be as great. So realistically, long-term rentals or short-term rentals, but in specific locations. So you're not going to really see people come in the area just to say, hey, I want to go to University Circle and let's book an Airbnb and go enjoy. But it's going to be those people that need to stay here for a couple months and then of course are on to their next location or the next stop. Of course, finding the pockets, have the right spots, that have the right homes, and being able to maximize on a buy and hold and say Hugh is going to be very beneficial so that you're getting in at a low price and being able to see that continue to grow over time and be able to maximize and really build that margin as things continue to redevelop in the area and in these pockets. So as I was saying, median price homes in that University Circle area, the proper area, are going to be expensive. But if you want to go and find Hugh just a couple blocks away, you're going to find that median about $130,000, but you're going to find things needing rehab at $170,000. So you're going to be able to get in there, put that money into it, and be able to get renters in there and continue to manage that year over year. Make sure that you're increasing those rents and you're seeing the home appreciate as the redevelopment projects continue to grow, to finish, and to expand. So University Circle, typical rents, you can see 13 to 1800 plus. But when you start to go out into Hugh or Fairfax, into those other areas, about 2-bedroom duplexes, you're gonna see like $800 to $1,000. Again, as these things continue to grow though, you'll see that rise. And actually, if you're around Cleveland Clinic, who is in need of those short-term rentals for their nurses, their staff, and their doctors and whatnot, you may be able to even maximize on that even more. So the pros of this area are gonna be just the fact that you're centered around massive, massive companies, being the hospitals and other employment opportunities and universities, as well as museums, as well as Little Italy being right around the corner, which is a popular destination and is home to tons of great food and storefronts as well. So it's going to be something that people love to go to and to enjoy, especially Little Italy, of course, but it's also going to be something where people are constantly going to out of need and desire because of obviously being top rated. Case Western, Cleveland Clinic, university hospitals are seeing doctors and staff and students and people come into this area to get the best of the best and the best education, to be at great hospitals and to build that resume. So you're constantly going to always see people renting and needing places, so vacancy rate is not going to be high. The pro for this area is just the fact that you're going to be able to see these people continuing to rent, and you're going to also be able to utilize the appreciation of all of this in redevelopment and to get in at an early stage in Hugh and Fairfax and to basically sit on those and enjoy the appreciation that will come from that as well. Now, con-wise, you're gonna see if you're not in the right pocket, you're gonna have a little bit of higher crime, and this is gonna be a little bit more than Ohio City, Tremont, and Detroit Shoreway. Things are gonna be a little bit more serious. You're gonna see a little more theft. So the cons are just the fact that you really do need to be specific. You need to know where you're going. You need to understand the area, and you need to know, okay, is this the right street? Is this the right place? Am I going to be able to see the growth, or am I too far away, and so on. But along with that, of course, University Circle and being them proper, you're gonna see a much more expensive barrier to entry. So that's gonna be a little bit of a shame. The inventory isn't as high, so you don't have as much of an opportunity to negotiate or to wait for things in that area. And of course, again, pushes you out to the outskirts a little bit. It's going to be a long-term hold. So sure, you can cash flow, but it's gonna be something that you're gonna have to really be prepared to just wait for, to hold on to, and to sit for a long time. And if you're looking for turnkey, you may not get it as much. People are doing stuff and renovating and flipping there, but for the most part, if you're an investor and you wanna maximize on the money, you may have to go that BRRRR method and stick to that for a little while. So for you out-of-state investors, again, I would really highly advise having the proper agent to know the location and to know where you're investing, because you really can be hit or miss. And if you do miss, you will see that vacancy rise. You know, people aren't going to rent if it's in a bad location. So you do need to be prepared to know where you're going and to understand what that looks like, because if you're in a rougher spot, you're probably not going to be renting it very soon or very quickly. But if you're in the right spot, you can find a very strong rental demand, and you'll be able to get the money that you want, of course, at the rate that you're looking for. Number 5 is going to be Old Brooklyn. So a little bit more on the west side. It's going to be affordable, and it's going to be an investor-friendly area, truly. So Old Brooklyn is a little bit more family-oriented community. Only about 44% people rent here, but it gives you the opportunity to put in and to supply a quality rental, because there are people that are interested in the area and renting. Now, Old Brooklyn is seeing a boom. It's seeing a home group redevelopment. All of them there are bringing local businesses. They're supporting one another, and they're basically getting things passed and making things happen to bring more business, to create a little bit more of a downtown space for them, and to continue to keep storefronts and businesses in their downtown space area clean, with a little bit of a renovated storefront outline as well, being repainted and making sure that it's upkept and that everything looks nice. So the city itself and the community itself is basically making this revitalization happen, and it's also getting money now to make it happen. But people do move here, people do enjoy it, and people do rent here, and that's big. It's seeing its growth, it's seeing things come back, with the community being a major driver from that. So it's nice to see that and nice to have that. So what are the best strategies? Well, easy. You're thinking the long-term home, best suited for families. So think, 2 to 3 beds, a yard, space for kids to play and families to grow. So that's going to be your best bet here. If you're thinking maybe fix and flip, it's not that it's out of the picture. You can definitely make that happen because some of the homes are older and need to have that, renovation take place. So that's another option if that's what you're looking for. It would work here, but something I wouldn't necessarily recommend is going to be that short-term rental. Not that it can't happen. You do have people that, and I know people that have short-term rentals in this area that have done well. And they have, hospital workers and healthcare workers staying here for 2-3 months and so on. They've done very well with it. And it's not that you can't make it happen, but you just may not, you don't necessarily want to take that chance or that risk of it not getting booked, right? So if you want that surefire, that certainty, it's going to be that long-term rental. And of course, you're going to be able to make fix and flips happen as well with the demand and with just the fact that older homes are there and they do need to see that renovation take place. The median home price is going to be about $150,000 to $180,000. So it does range, and it did see an 11% year-over-year return or appreciation. So what's great about this is, you're not seeing these things just boom overnight. You're seeing it slow and steady taking place, continuing to appreciate, continuing to improve, and to continue to rise in price, which is awesome. And along with that, with the price, you're going to be able to land 1, maybe 2 Brooklyn homes at the price of 1 in Ohio City or Tremont or University Circle or anywhere else. So you're really going to be able to maximize this. And of course, if you find some of those duplexes that are in the area, then even better. So typical rents may be anywhere from $900 to $1,400 for a home, or depending on the duplex and the unit itself. And sure, it doesn't sound that pretty, but when you actually look at your ratio and your return of what based on what you bought the house at, it's going to be a pretty nice return. So imagine just adding up doors in that area and being able to continue to, rinse and repeat and do this over and over and over again. That's going to add up, and that's going to be fantastic. So depending on your strategy and your patience and what you're looking for, could be an amazing spot with a pretty investor-friendly draw and area as well. And of course, with families being there, sure, you might see some wear and tear in the house, but people normally take care of it. They know what they're in it for, and raising a family, usually, obviously barring any bad things with the kids or anything happening with them doing, usually take better care or good care of it as well. So what are the pros of Old Brooklyn? Well, you have reliable renters and you have a steady growth. So it's constantly seeing its growth, it's seeing its area built up, and the community really is the driving force behind that, and they're continuing to do so. So you're going to see the appreciation, you're going to see these home values continue to rise, but at a steady rate. It's not going to come with volatility that some other areas might have. And of course, more so into it, the pros, you're going to be able to get into the area at a cheaper price. So if you're a new investor, or if you're just not, if you're looking to add a lot of properties all at once, it's a great spot to be. You're going to be able to do so. It's very investor friendly, and it's going to be something that you're going to be able to get into without too many hiccups. Now, sure, there is some demand. People know about this area, so you might have some competition. Things are going to still sell quickly, but if you're looking for single family, obviously there's that. If you're looking for duplexes, there's that as well, and even some triplexes. So it offers variety depending on what kind of property that you're looking for, and you'll be able to get what it is that you want, no matter what. But with its low vacancy rates, with its safer area, quieter areas, and neighborhood, and being family friendly, it's going to be a great spot just to have trusty renters and to be able to basically get into the area and know that know what you're getting yourself into with the type of home. Looking for that 2 to 3 bedroom home in just a safe spot. Also knowing that, typically you're going to be renting to a family. They're not looking to move every year, right? So you can typically expect a long-term renter in this area, and property taxes are going to be a little lower at the little price area, as well as insurance, being that it's not as high of a crime area. So good things to note. Now, what are the cons? Well, again, you're going to see the slower appreciation, right? It's going to be a little bit more modest. So depending on what you're looking for, what you want, you're not going to see that boom overnight, right? But along with that, it is older homes. So you will have to deal with some of the older home issues. So maybe that's aged roofs, or maybe that's some stuff so the older homes are there. So you have to be prepared for that. Maybe that's an aged roof or older mechanicals when you're going to buy it. So you might have to be prepared to replace those, just things of that nature. for out-of-state investors, this is gonna be a great spot if you're new to Cleveland because of the low cost to entry, right? This is gonna be a great spot to start, and you can find turnkey rentals in this area. So you're gonna be able to take those, put a nice family in there, and be able to start to cash flow pretty immediately, which is great. But along with that, you don't have to worry much about the areas, the space, what street you're on, and things like that. You don't have to know the pocket of Old Brooklyn as much as you have to with, say, Hugh or Fairfax or even Tremont. So it really offers just kind of that flexibility, maybe a little bit more of a less worry or headache investment, which is going to allow you to kind of get in there and just to continue to turn deal over deal and just to continue to get more and more doors over time. So it's a pretty good spot. You don't have to worry about the low vacancy. You can really have that be a pretty nice experience for yourself, of course. And then if you want to go with more of the BRRRR method, you'd be able to make that happen as well with some of these older homes, again, needing to be renovated and brought back and updated. But with the community doing what they're doing, with the money that's going into the city and the constant draw, people are seeing this area grow, and they are coming into the area as well to maximize on that growth. That wraps it up. Those are the 5 cities, the 5 neighborhoods that I would invest in here in the Cleveland proper area. So let me know, what questions do you have? What did you think? What would you do? And if there's anything else I didn't answer, or if you have any information you want to include, put that in the comments below. But just reach out, let me know how I can help you, and I'll be happy to really just dive in on a personal level with you and figure out what is going to be the best method for yourself. But until next time, I appreciate you watching, and let's get to the next video.